Welcome back to my channel! Welcome back to Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're doing it! We're doing the adventure of the clouded kokoro. Whatever that means. I don't know what that is. Okay. Episode 4. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction. That there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea.
Herbal tea.
Leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
Oh.
To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back.
I was wondering what that was. I thought there were tiny
Yet in
angel
the soft
wings.
glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Oh wow, very eloquent. Is it the same day? Is it the next day? British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive, and the entrance was so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. Holy shit. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. I don't remember what voice I gave him, but I think that's pretty much it. Oh, yes, well. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Sato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Stronghart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Stronghart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of the events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Nice. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than the practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? No. It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Justice. We want justice. The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Nice. This is awkward. It's exactly how an innocent man should sound. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. He's like, not my problem. It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. He's like, I couldn't care less. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. What do you mean, Lord Stronghart? Magnus... what? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. What? Mr. McGilded is dead? What is this, Game of Thrones? People die so easily in this game. I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's talk about McGilded's death. I don't understand what happened. How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Oh, was McGilded in the omnibus? Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? Yeah, seriously. That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Miss McGilded. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. So what you're saying is you have no idea. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. It's totally a trap. Like, he's totally covering up his tracks. Yeah, now he's probably gonna go by a different name. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're gonna examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. That's suspicious. That's weird. Poor Mr. McGilded. Yeah, I guess no one deserves to die like that. If he did die, we have no confirmation that it was him and it's his body. Still, even though they say they confirmed it, it's still no confirmation. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Sasata-san has such a way with words. Wow. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. How does she she can read my mind? The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. the most advanced in the world, is it? Damn. It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. What does that mean? I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Stronghart, but the case was anything but simple. Yeah. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. It's because it was all rigged from the start, you know? Something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Yeah. Oh, maybe. I mean, we are pretty good. You know, not to brag or anything. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much at least is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he gonna say before? What were you gonna say? Okay, what's the new case? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Oops. Don't tell me. Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry. It's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? I feel like everyone can read your mind. That is to say, no one has died as yet. Oh! And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. Okay. 23 hours, 45 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow then. Okay. Is everything alright? Oh, yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was, well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. Yes, I nearly forgot. There was one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh, here I am. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. Dead. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Are all, like, guilty verdicts met with death? Here we go again. Okay. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. What is it? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. Did I? That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. Ooh, this music! Yes. What's the favor? We still don't know what the favor is. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Me too. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing oh. Another thing. Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important? And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for Thank you for an enlightening discussion. What's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. Yeah, because he's my best friend. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. Oh, hello. Oh, is that Winston? Winston? Is that his name? I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I can't remember his name. Wilson? Winston. Winston Churchill. Okay. Examine the detective. Oh. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? I'm so sorry. Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your head, you know? But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man. I'm a very busy man. Oh, wow. The way he's just eating that. Is it supposed to be like fish and chips? There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Meh. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? What? This is so stupid. It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? So, Lord Stronghart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? You mean your father is Greg? What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Okay, let's just talk to, yeah. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? Well, I like his crunching. It's very like ASMR. You're acting like you know this man, Miss Sato, but he's a London detective, and you're not from London? Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rant magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. The goods? Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all of the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise. Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. I like that he just calls it the yard. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. That's silly. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. Whatever that means. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps the sudden rise to fame does change people. Yeah, okay, let's talk about the case. Let's get to the crux of the matter here. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. The way he, like, puts away his fish and chips. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Okay. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Piece of cake, that's it. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Susato takedown, would you? I forgot about that. This is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. Oh, so there is a criminal. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke out. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Beric Van Zeeks. Wait, what? So the tables have turned, so we have to prove that he's guilty, and Lord Van Zeeks is gonna prove that he's innocent? Sounds like you heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey. That's not a very good nickname for a lawyer, to be honest. It's like, okay. Or are we trying to prove his innocence? The criminal's innocence? Lord Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he? He's so handsome. When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. Oh. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. Oh, so, okay, so we're trying to prove the guy's innocence. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? He's like, well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty. That's right, not gonna brag, but... And what of it? Oh shit! Well, I think... that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. Yeah, bitch. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? Oh, stick it in my pocket. What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Oh. Magnus McGilded came a cropper in the omnibus when it went up in flames. What does that mean? So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zieks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic. Oh, I love this music. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? That it's magic? Looks pretty good. Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. It looks like you were only eating the fish part. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell, he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. Oh, that's mean. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer, and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53. 53. Thank you. Okay. So, there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah. This guy's literally the Reaper, apparently. To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... it's scary. Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. Okay. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Let's do it. Did you really think you had to ask? Oh, they're so cute together. After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes. Ah, she's so cute. Okay. We're gonna go to the prison. But I'm gonna end the video here. We'll start off the next episode in prison. That's a weird statement that I didn't think I'd ever say. Let me know if you like these videos. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye, guys.